So you can clearly see why it is called Seahorse Bay. That is the shape of a seahorse. There you go. We've got the wind coming in from the west today, this way, so that should give us protection. We've got winds coming through of about 28 knots, so we're hoping to get somewhere where that 14 metre mark is there and anchoring there. So our last waypoint is outside the bay, and then just work our way through, hope to drop the hook. If not, we might have to put a stern line to the shore. Let's see. There's the entrance just in front coming up. So we left Cash about an hour ago, and we're on our way down to Kekova Adasi, Kekova Island. There's a particular bay called Seahorse Bay, because it's the shape of a seahorse, and we're looking at potentially anchoring there, and then maybe, if it's not too far, take the tender down and use the tender to go to some of the places of interest. There is a sunken city that we're trying to see if we can get to on the tender from Seahorse Bay. Do some snorkeling. There are some tombs that are actually in shallow water. We'll see if we can see those. There is a castle that we want to see if we can get to. We've got about a 3.5 hour journey today. As I say, we're about an hour into it. Over the back is Cash. I stayed there for 3 days. Had motorbikes out, done some driving around, which was great. 3 days ago, when we came in, there was a warship here just patrolling the area. It's not here today. And behind David, that is a Greek island, isn't it, Dave? That's a Greek island. And that's how close Turkey is. A lot of Greek islands here that are right on the doorstep of Turkey. Quite strange. We can't go to them unless we check out of Turkey and then check into Greece, which is a bit of a palaver, so we won't be doing those other Greek islands just around Turkey's border. Although, when we leave Turkey, we can stop and check into customs in one of these islands if they've got a customs check-in point, and then get our way onto roads. Lovely day, a few clouds, a little bit hazy, but the sun is out, 31 degrees today. The water temperature is still nice. We have noticed that the evenings are getting cooler and the mornings are getting cooler, but very pleasant. After 3 hours of sailing, we have reached Kekova Adasi Island, and Seahorse Bay is straight ahead. We can anchor there for the day and then take the view on, rather taking the tender out to get to some of the places we want to see, or move the boat tomorrow further up the coastline here and then round in the bay behind the back of this side. Moving at 6.5 knots, one engine on, just the jib out. The wind is pushing us, the tide is pushing us, the waves are pushing us all to our destination. It's been like that for the last 3 hours. It's been a really good sail. Nice and easy, straightforward. Had a couple of other boats behind us which have now headed to Cyprus, which is over that way somewhere, and a couple follow us down the coast. We seem to be the only ones going into Seahorse Bay, but there's normally a few day trip boats in there. A few white horses running. True wind is 15 knots, apparent is 10. So it's pushing us all the way. We are on anchor in Kekova Island in Seahorse Bay. It is called Seahorse Bay because it has a head the shape of a seahorse. There's 4 yachts up there, one over there, one next to us, plus us. Dropped in 18 metres of water, reversed back, locked the anchor and put 2 stern lines ashore. One on the windward side and just another one over here as a precaution. We're going to do some snorkeling, going to take the boat around this little bay and then just relax today, and then tomorrow we might up anchor and go round to another bay the other side. Beautiful bay, lovely clear blue water. A few gullets in, they'll be gone in the next hour or so. Got a little Oceanus next to us, 43. Gullet over there. There's 2 day trip boats plus them 2 over there on the right. Trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from. It's a nice reef just behind us. Actually, just here is a reef all the way down the side. Do a bit of snorkeling, but not until we've taken a tender around the bay and had a little look. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down. So today's mission is to act like a pair of goats. This is the end of Seahorse Bay. I've decided to go for a hike. I wouldn't mind but lay a path. It's just big boulders everywhere. We're forging a path. Yeah, we can't go through that shallow bit because it's just too overgrown. We don't know where we're going. We're just on a mission. What an amazing place though. Oh look, there's a little reality down there. All tied up on a rock. Just make sure you're there when we come back, girl. It's about 3 gullets there, but there's another 3 round the corner. Right you. Colin, you just film what you can film on the way out. We both walk the same ground. Been traveling all over, searching far away. I can't even see fuck all. Yeah, just save me, you know, they save me a big walk together down the streets of rock home. It's been forever, a long time that I've been on. Feelings come easy as we start a new day, and I know what I should say. That's enough talk for personal notes here. Yep. Reasons why I didn't put the anchor out too far, but I don't know where these boats go back to. One that was up to the boat, don't you? Yeah, I think that is the one coming out. No, he's still there though. Still there, is he? He's backing up with that drop there, isn't he? Yep. Oh, he is, yeah. We're over there, aren't we? Do? Stunning. Yeah, it's gorgeous. So we've had a great day in Kekova Island today. We've done some goat climbing up the mountain. We've done a lot of snorkeling around this bay here. We've got a reef right underneath us that drops about 15 metres and slowly comes up to there. We are about a boat length away from that reef, which is about 45 feet. We are anchored in about 16 metres with about 34 metres out on the chain, so we don't have a lot on the chain. The reason for that is these bullets come along and they sometimes anchor up over there and they drop their chain right out over the top of you, reverse back, and they don't give a monkeys. So I wasn't sure how much chain to put out. Hindsight being a wonderful thing, none of them have come over here, so I would have put more chain out. The good news is the wind is only due from the west all night and very light. And if the wind blows us back to the reef, it's such a steep reef, the anchor's only going to dig in harder and deeper because it's such a steep incline back to that reef. So I'm quite confident they're fine. There's still a few boats here which I thought would have been gone by now, but they will be leaving shortly. And we'll probably have this bay just to ourselves. Saw a few things today while snorkeling, quite a few trumpet fish, a lot of silver bait fish, very small, that just swim right past your goggles in a great big shoal and don't move out of the way until you get very close to them. I saw an Atlantic triggerfish, well I thought it was an Atlantic triggerfish, but it doesn't make sense that it's here in the Mediterranean, but it was a triggerfish all the same. We saw 2 lionfish. Quite a few mullets swimming around the edge. David saw a big jack or tuna or something swim past him. I didn't see it. I think it was wishful thinking myself. There's loads of cucumbers down there, sea cucumbers. But look how clear that water is. So we left Cash this morning at about 9 o'clock. Took us 3.5 hours to sail here, just on the jib. The wind was with us all the way. Maximum wind we got was about 18 knots. Apparent, I think maximum apparent today was about 13. Our top speed was about 6.5 knots. We had one engine on tick over at 1800 revs. That was the port engine. I'm trying to balance the engine hours up on these engines so that when they're going for servicing at the end of the year they're equal engine hours. And I was about 14 hours behind on the port engine. So I've run today on a port engine, and I will do the next couple of journeys run on the port engine, so we get them both balanced out with the same amount of engine hours. But very nice sail. We had the wind in our favour, going downwind. We had the tide pushing us in our favour and the waves in our favour. Everything was pushing us towards our destination. It was a nice 3.5 hour sail down from Cash. to this beautiful little island. This is on the southern side of Kekova Island. On the north tip on the south side. There is another superb bay on the west north side of the island, which we're hoping to take to tender tomorrow. We're planning on going around the other side of the island, but anchoring closer to the mainland and then just getting the tender down and going around some of the places that we want to see. There's a sunken city that we want to snorkel over. There's a castle we want to walk up the hill and visit. There's some tombs that are actually in the water that we want to go and visit. There's some tombs on land that we want to go and visit. And I also think there's some rock cut tombs as well on our way to the castle tomorrow. So we've got a lot to do tomorrow. And then depending how we get on tomorrow, the next day, we're heading towards Finnekie. Or Finnekie. I never know how to pronounce it. This is what it's like at about 6 o'clock. Lovely and calm. A little bit of wind from the west, but nothing too much. It's calming down. There's one of the gullets just starting its engines up, ready to leave. In fact, you can just see its mast coming out. And this is about the time they leave to get back to the mainland, which is only 5 miles, 1 hour south. I would think probably all these boats are leaving here in the next hour. There'll be probably nobody else in this bay except us, unless another yacht or two come in. I have to say, Turkey has got some amazing coastline. Just sailing down the coast, it's very Jurassic, very beautiful looking. And they've got some amazing places with artefacts, ancient ruins. I've done a lot of research on sailing down Turkey coastline from Bodrum all the way down to Finnekie, so I knew what to expect, but until you actually experience it, it's definitely been an eye-opener. David has really been surprised how beautiful Turkey is. They've got some just fabulous bays. Always seems to be a place that, regardless of what the wind's doing, you can get somewhere quickly and tuck in and get out of the wind. So the west wind is blowing from in front of me. I think that's the reason why most of these gullets have tucked themselves under the cliff that side. It's slightly better protection. But if you take your boat over there, they will drop their anchors over the top and reverse back, and then you can't go until they leave. So we decided to come on this side, which means we are slightly having the west wind come over that hillside there and funnel down and hit us on the nose. But as I say, we're on a very steep incline, so if the anchor's going to do anything, it's just going to dig in even more if we get pushed back. It is a worry living on a boat and knowing that if the wind was to gush through here and push this boat back onto a reef, which is literally just, as I say, 30 feet behind the back. So these lines here, all these do is just kind of keep it from the wind shifts and rotating the boat from left to right. It just kind of helps just keep it in a position. So there's a strong wind blowing behind me now from the west, and this will take one of these lines tight and then we'll take the other one loose, and then the other one will go loose and the other one will go tight, and it will just keep the boat facing into the wind so we don't rotate in a half circle all night long. Yep, there comes a gullet coming out. He's on his way back to the mainland, finished for the day. There was another one over in that corner, he's already gone. But for those of you that have never been to Turkey, I've got to say, it's a beautiful place. Right, we're going to do a quick demonstration on how we tie stern lines. So I'm going to throw David the painter back. Yeah, but you take that bit in. I'm now going to pass David this line. This is one of our reels. And then I shall feed that out for David as he goes over. He's going to try and tie off on that rock if it's... Yep, got the painter. So David's taking the dinghy painter. He's going to put that out of his way. He's got the stern line. And I'm going to feed the stern line to him. So this is how we go stern to. The boat is in 15 metres of water, 40 metres out on the chain. The anchor is set and both the engines are in tick over reverse to keep us in this position. There is a reef just there. Dave is going to try and tie off on that. Watch the engine, Dave. You're doing well. So I'm feeding him the line, but I've got to be careful because when this line stops I need to cleat it off so that it doesn't pull this off the boat. So he's just making sure he doesn't get it caught around the propeller. I'm going to let him catch up because the line sinks, it's got metal in it. Now I might have to put this boat in reverse. It's just being very careful not to. Please be enough line. It's a sod if it's not, because I've got to move the boat. They're very short on line here. This is the difficulty, trying to keep the line out of the propeller to the engine that he's on. And once he's got this line set, he'll come back. I think he's got enough line here. Now what he'll do is he'll probably tie the painter off. That's the yellow line that belongs on the tender. He'll tie that off over a rock if he needs to. But he may be able to secure the white line without doing that. Sometimes you have to tie the tender off with the painter line and then climb up on the rocks. That's why he's got trainers on with rubber soles so that if he climbs on the rock he doesn't cut his feet. But what he's trying to do is find a rock that he's happy with, that he can get that line over, and then he'll come back to the boat. We won't worry about this being loose at the moment, as long as it's not pulling on this, because this is not a fixing point. So we've got to make sure the wind don't shift and blow us closer there, and then tighten this line up and then pull this off. But if it does, I've got enough on here to put it around the cleat. Yeah, he's just watching his propeller with that line. He knows that he can't get that propeller caught around that line. But he's done the main thing, which is to get that away. He's also got to make sure that he doesn't hit any rocks with the propeller on the outboard. So now he'll come back over. So he's happy that he's over a good biting point on that rock there, and that line that goes there has got two blue big hard heavy duty plastic cover so the line doesn't rip through the rocks, because the rocks are very jagged. So that's one line semi set, it's not completely set. So David's going to throw me the painter when he gets closer so I can help him get on board. You going to go that side, Dave? He's gone this side because the second line that he'll need to go out to is on this side. So he'll throw me the painter now when he gets closer. He's got that in gear so it stays up on here. So now, with one hand, I'll hold this whilst he gets on. You're not taking the second line yet, Dave? No, I'll show you why. I'll need to reverse us back and get that line on, because that line's still hanging on the cotton reel. So tie that off. Tie it off on the bottom plate. So he's just tying the painter off out of the way, because we're going to need that to put our second line up over there. But first of all, we want to get this line tight. And I can feel the wind shifting already. This was only meant to be a 3-minute video, mate. So what David's going to do, because there's nothing holding this back, he's going to hold this line as I reverse back and up to that rock. He's then going to bring it around this cleat. Yeah, I wouldn't put it on there because you'll break that line. I've got reverse back, and then with that, you know what to do. Feed it through there as I go back and then take the slack up. So I'm going to push back on this starboard engine in reverse and hope that pulls me over to that area. Once I've got myself in position, I can put the other engine in reverse, and now David's going to pull that line. So I'm now going to put the port engine in tick over reverse, give a little bit more rev on the starboard engine, which is now taking up a little bit of slack, and you can see what David's doing. I'll give it a bit more power yet, Dave. So I'm now going to give this engine more power. And I've got to watch the wheel doesn't move, because going backwards the wheel wants to move. It's also digging the anchor in nicely. And that should be about it. David's probably about as tight as he can go. Tight as you can go, Dave? So David's now tied that line off. So now that'll go tight, whilst we then set up this. Okay, so the video stopped recording for some reason, so I'm doing a second one. But all we've done is untangled this line here, unravelled it. David's got it round his neck, so I can hang him by pulling him back. He's like a baby on a leash. I can control him from here. Look, see it? So we've tied a big bowline in the line that David's got, big enough hopefully to go straight over that rock that he's swimming to. The engines are now in neutral. They're not in reverse, taking out any forward or pressure. So that line is literally now holding us in position. And you'll notice we've come away from this reef now. So David's going to put that line over. Because I'm filming, I'm going to hold this in my hand so that he can pull back against it. And then when he gets on, he'll cleat it off over here. So let me just give him a bit more line. There you go. So David's now going to throw that. Let's zoom in on him. So he's going to throw that over that rock. Now this doesn't have any protection cover on this. We need to get more plastic sheaves that go around that line, so that we don't have a chance of flying backwards and forwards and the line itself cutting through that sharp rock. This is more secondary line anyway. This one will be taking up most of the tension today. So you can see David's setting that line up. I'm trying to do this one-handed, so it's a bit difficult, and hold the line. So very gracefully he went backwards. Now he can pull himself against the line with me, so I'm pulling the line so it's nice and tight for him. So it just saves him from having to swim. He's about, I would say he's about 65 feet, maybe 70 feet away from that rock. That one is about 100 odd feet away, maybe 110 feet as a guess. So you can see David is making it easier by swimming and pulling the line, because it is quite tiring. Sometimes we use the tender, but this time David didn't want to use the tender. So here he comes. He's now going to climb back on board. Do you want to swim around the other side, Dave, to the ladder? So we get the ladder down for you. Well, let me just tie that off over there. Drop the ladder down for him. Just keep your feet away from the props, although she's on tick over. And they're both in neutral, keep your feet away from the props. He knows what he's doing. Done it a few times now. You might want to take this line out so you've got more cleat area there, Dave. So all we've got to do now basically is just take this line out of here. This is just a stern line that we use when we go into marinas and stuff. You'll untake this out from here. That will free up this cleat. And then the end of that line here, you wrap it around, pull it, and then tie it off so that we're locked in both sides. And then I should be able to just pull up a little tiny bit on the anchor to tension both these lines and then turn the engines off. And then she'll be able to swing backwards and forwards. You might have enough room around that cleat if you want, it's up to you.
Take them off. Don't keep them on there.
We'll take this one off, do you? Yeah, it's hard to do it at one end. Right, so might as well film it. David's going to take that line off there. That frees that cleat up. Get that out of the way for a minute, make sure it doesn't go in the prop. You then put this one over here, through around there, and then you pull that in tight and you lock it off, and that will be both lines tight. I will just tighten them a touch more on the anchor, just bring it up about a metre on the anchor. So you can see the line going tight now, and now he'll start to lock it off when he's ready. Doesn't need to be rock tight because I'm going to move this forward. So you can see it's partly in the water, which is fine. Davey's going to lock that off. That means both lines are locked off to the back cleats. We can use these cleats down here, however, because we've got solar panels and we've got these chrome pipes sticking up, we don't want it going across and any tension damaging the sugar scoop. And these are stronger, these are more designed for this type of stuff anyway. All locked off, Dave? Right, so he's locked it off. All I will now do, if you look at our depth, we've got 43.8. You can feel it's tight. Yeah, look, the anchor's struggling. So I pulled up about 1.3, 1.4 metres. That's just tighten these lines to a degree. And they just sink like that. One will go tight, the other go tight, the other one will sink. But that's basically it. So now what we can do, turn the engines off. One engine off, it's two engines off, turn the ignition off, turn the ignition off, and then what we do, we just check the weather again on one of our apps to make sure that the weather's not doing anything differently to what we've already looked at this morning. Our anchor is there. We are now set just this short lead up. A lot of people use the bridle, we prefer not to when we're doing this type of anchoring. We just use this short lead, which is a secondary to stop the chain from pulling on the windlass motor, the anchor windlass, which is under there. So we'll tie that off in a minute, just lock that on now. You can see the chain going out through the front of the boat. It goes down and it sits out there somewhere, and then it's just basically locked and pulled tight. In other words, as it says there, anchored. And then these lines will just adjust accordingly under their own positioning, whatever the wind changes direction. As I say, one will go slightly tighter and looser than the other. Now what we really need to do is put a float on that line. We get a fender on there just to let all these canoeists that come around this corner know that there's a line there. Anyone's snorkeling or anyone's diving, we'll do something to put a float there. This one we won't bother with because it's virtually going to be out of water all the time and people can clearly see that. But that's quite tight, that line. That is actually quite tight. So that's taking the pressure. That one will get tight and loose, and that's it. That's stern to anchoring. It does take two of you. Could it be done with one person? Very, very difficult. Almost impossible, but it can be done. Just round that corner where that boat's going, there's about 10 of those day trip boats in that little bay. There is a bay here that we thought about going into, but it's not, it doesn't seem to have a deep enough incline for the anchor to only dig in. So in other words, if the wind came from this direction, which is where it's coming from, and we had a real strong gust trying to blow this boat back to this reef behind me. We've got a very steep anchor setting, and it will just go up a hill and keep locking the anchor in, and therefore avoiding going backwards. At least that's the theory. There you go, stern to anchoring. Well done, Dave. 10 minutes, 15 maybe at a push, and we are actually anchored. I think it's actually called Kekova Castle, isn't it, Dave? Kekova Castle. And there you go, just there is a castle. We're anchored under about our 4th castle this year. Kekova Island is there. We stayed for a day and a night just over the back of it, the other side, in Seahorse Bay. But just over there where there's a bit of activity, that's the sunken city. You can see all the boats over there. There's also a bay up there which is very nice to go, but they say don't anchor a private yacht there, because the day trip boats think they own the place and they just anchor over you, and when they go they don't care about pulling your chain up and causing a problem. They just up anchor and go, and they don't care what they do to you. So you're advised not to go in that anchorage over there. But we're going to take the tender. It's only a mile over. Just round the corner here there's a group of restaurants, and round the other corner, just a bit further where these rocks are, that's a town where we can do our shopping today, because we do need to get provisions. We're going to stay here for 2 days. We're going to do the castle maybe today, and then tomorrow we're going to do the sunken city, which we're allowed to snorkel over. And I believe there are also some tombs that are sunk in water around here, but they're high enough to see the tombs out of the water, but the bases for them are in the water. That's it. Hopefully we're in a good place. Just check the weather now. Hope you enjoyed that.
Was missing in this puzzle I used to call my life. Oh no, didn't even care enough to be dismissive. I just kept keeping